Hello everybody and welcome to round 2 of the Rapid Pixel Racing Monday Legend League. We are here, as I've just said, at Mexico. We've just got into the session and drivers are about to head out on track. I hope the audio and everything is alright tonight. I'm also hosting the session, so I'm hoping everything will be alright with that. We have our first car coming out on track now of Cam Ruddy. How is everybody doing tonight? Personally, I'm doing amazing. If everything is alright or if there's any problems with the audio, please let me know and I can sort them out. But as I say, tonight I am hosting this session as I've just got an Ethernet cable and it is working absolute wonders. So hopefully all the quality with the stream and with the lobby is all right. Hosted the practice session and everything was fine in there as well. We have a few drivers starting to come out on track for the start of this session. I assume that it is a dry session. I will not know otherwise if it isn't, but this qualifying session so far looks dry, and the fact that drivers are coming out on track fairly early would suggest so as well. We have 16 drivers in for tonight's race, pretty similar to last week's. I think we have one less. Unfortunately, we had a driver back out right at the last minute due to family reasons, and unfortunately we don't have Lister yet again, which is a shame. Could have 18 drivers, but we only have 16. But we will make do, and I'm sure it'll be an amazing race. Cam Ruddy now, one of the rookies for this season, starts his first lap, his banker lap as you could say. Cam Ruddy had an interesting race round Kota. Could say that he created a bit of havoc at turn 1 in the feature race, I believe, but he managed to come through, and I believe he failed to score points in the end, but I'm not too sure. Let's get last week's results up, and yes, he only finished 11th last week and did not score any in the sprint race either, so he came out of his first race with no points, and someone has absolutely blocked him there. I don't know who that was. It's a McLaren of Freddie Saint, I believe, which is absolutely outrageous. Cam Ruddy will not be happy with that one at all. So I think Cam Ruddy's lap over. Who is will be next across the line? I believe it might be the Red Bull of Full. He's the next driver on a lap, just about to come into sector 2. Let's ride on board with him here as the car sweeps to the left, back over to the right. You'd want to kind of avoid that curve. Don't run it as much as you used to on the older games. You used to be able to abuse these curves completely, but with this year's setup and handling model, you cannot run them, otherwise you will bottom out. These curves are some dodgy ones you have to avoid, as Cam Ruddy does go fastest, but obviously not with a representative time. Full air now through the final Mickey Mouse complex, through the stadium, round the final corner, and what lap can he do as he takes out the Bullard there for the pit lane? Does a 1:18.3. Next across the line will be another Mercedes. That will be of errors. I believe he's starting a lap. We have a Williams coming through. An Alpine of Cherry. Next across the line will be the two Williams drivers who are running line astern. You have Leon and Alex, both good friends off the track in the Netherlands. Both drivers coming through these final few corners now, very close together, so it might hurt each other, as Jerome actually goes up into first with 16.5. That's a good lap. Alex goes into second with a 17.6, and Leon on a 17.8. So it's a good strategy there from the Williams guys. Chubb comes through ahead of them on a 17.0, half a second behind Jerome, and Johnny beats both of them to go to the top. Scotty will come through next to not set a lap as he is starting one, as we have a Mercedes driver coming through next. That is Cam Ruddy. Where is he? Can this be a better lap than what he did before? Yes, it is. It's a 118.0. Freddie Saint does a 118.7. Next to come through will be GGC, who's invalidated the lap. And then we have Erez coming through to finish his final run. That invalidated right at the end. It's a bit of a tricky final corner. You want to put the throttle down so early, but you just have to wait and wait for the grip to start working. As Erez goes 9th with an 18.6 there. And I believe that is all the runs at the minute. We have a few other drivers coming through at the end. Let's watch Scotty through Sector 2. Had an alright outing last week. He managed to get done at the line by Mrs. Carl. That did really excite me. That as Scotty invalidates, which definitely doesn't excite me. Next to cross the line, we have an Alpine, but I assume that is in an in-lap. Any drivers in the midfield? Frenzy still in the pit. Here we go. Here's Mrs. Carl on a lap. Let's stay on board with her. Amazing first round in COTA. She managed to pull off an incredible move on Scott, as I've already mentioned, in the final corner of the final lap to be able to pick up a 4th position. Just 1 place off of the podium for her. Let's hope that that podium can come today. She comes through the final complex of corners now. Very, very tricky section. The car wants to understeer and then oversteer on the entry and exit. Mid-corner minimum speed is the most important factor. She plants the throttle out at the final corner. Short run to the line. She goes up into 4th, just behind RPR Chubb, as she puts in a 117.1. So first run's done then. And Johnny Stoke has set down the gauntlet of a 116.3, 2 tenths faster than Jerome, as Full Air sets a 117.5 to put himself up to 5th. So it is a very, very tight grid at the minute. Let's have a look how tight. If I can do this gap to the leader, see a bit better. As we have really the top 2 of Jerome and Johnny, I'd expect them to be fighting all out for the win today. You have Chubb and Mrs. Carl just behind them, and then a bit of a train of Full Air, Alex, Leon and Cam Ruddy, who is in the pit. Cherry just a few tenths behind Cam Ruddy, and then he looks to be in a battle with GGC, who's about to come into the pits, Erez and Freddie Saint, who has just gone out to start his 2nd lap. Some drivers who haven't completed a lap so far. We have Scotty Harris, who is on his out lap, just coming through the 2nd sector now. Frenzy's in the pits, as he will obviously start from the back. And Womack, who has just started his lap. So let's stay on board with him. We have Elsfon as well, who is still in the pits. Womack's now DRS wide open. I'm going to make the assumption that most drivers will be running a lower downforce setup. However, from my own experience, using higher downforce is much more effective for this circuit. As Womack has backed out of that lap already, which is interesting. Unless he's slowing down for yellow flags, but I don't know why you would do that, to be honest. Who else is out on track then? Alex just getting out the way of a few people. Everyone's just in the pits or getting ready for their lap. Scotty has just started a lap, so let's stay on board with the Aston Martin driver. We'll be hoping to have a bit of a better race than last weekend. The sprint race was ruined a little bit by some contact with Freddie Saint at turn 1, so they'll be looking to avoid the same tonight. Scotty with a bit of traffic in front of him of Leon, I believe, and that Williams have got right out of the way. A bit more of a bigger gap between the Williams this time, as Alex is coming through the final few corners ready to start his lap, but Leon has only just got to the start of sector 2. Scotty now coming through the S's section. You need full commitment through here. You need a compliant rear end, but also one that does turn into the corners. That is why on this game it seems to be more effective to just have that bit of higher downforce. You know, if you go bit for a lower kind of setup, you just lose way too much time for that middle sector, and that is where your time's made at the end of the day. Although you do spend a lot of time on the straight at this part of this track, sorry. And obviously coming on to this part of the track, Scott Ian, what lap can he do? He goes up to third ahead of his teammate by half a tenth of a second. Who else is on a lap then? Obviously we'll have the Williams of Leon start on a lap soon. Alex, oh no, that's Alex. My apologies. Who's starting? So that must have been Alex getting out the way of Scotty on that lap instead of Leon. Freddie Saint is about to come across the line to complete his second lap, but he's 7 seconds down, so he must have aborted that one. And he's going to go again for a lap. We have a Mercedes now coming through the final corner. I assume that is Cam Ruddy. Yes. And he's starting a lap. Air Race coming through the S's now. That's the Williams of Leon getting right out of the way. So the Williams doing a good job of getting out of the way of some drivers here. We have Cherry about to cross the line to complete his second lap. He's 1/10 up at the minute. What can his improvement be? And he doesn't improve. He matches his time there. Erez will be the next to come across the line, but he is invalidated, so that will not help him. I assume he will come straight into the pits there. And then we will have Alex as he is coming through the final section of the track now, using all the curb on the entry to the stadium section. Could have used a bit more on the entry there. His teammate getting well out of the way. Uses second gear on the exit, up into third, back down to second for the final corner. And will he take a short run to the line? No, he's going to keep it wide. And what time does he do? He does a 170.191, a half second improvement. Puts him up to 6th and just behind Mrs. Carl. And now he's going to give Leon an absolutely mental slipstream down into turn 1. So let's stay on board with Leon here and see what his sector 1 split will be. If he's done his first few corners well, he will get definite improvement here, and he's only up by a 10th at the minute, so he's going to have to try and pull something back through the remainder of the lap. We have an Alpha Tauri about to cross the line of Mrs. Carl, who's up by a 10th at the minute. What can she improve by? And she doesn't improve. It looks to me that a few drivers aren't improving in that final sector or the final corner for that matter. A lot of drivers losing time. It is a very difficult final section of track. Can Leon improve for his final section, as he is 3/4 of a second up at the minute? Only 25% ERS, so I think that should be alright. He clips a bit too much curb on that left-hander there. Let's hope that he can hold it together now through the final corner, get the power down early as he does. Doesn't go for that short run to the line, that was saving a few tenths, but he does improve by like 3/4 seconds, put himself up to P4, splitting both of the Aston Martins. Great lap there from the Williams driver. Freddie Saint, will he be the next cross the line? Yes, he will. Hasn't invalidated his lap, but he does look to be down on the lap, and he is. That means the Aston Martin of RPR Chubb will be the next to cross the line. He was up by just over a 10th, and he's lost it coming out the final corner, and he is going straight into the pits as he has lost his front right end plate. That is unfortunate for the Aston Martin driver, and Mrs. Carl invalidates through the stadium section. He has a Red Bull behind her of full air. Can he improve on this lap? He got a much deserved podium last weekend. Can he do the same this weekend? No, he cannot. He is improved by a 10th, but he has not improved the position. There's a Haas driver coming over the line of Womack to put himself up into the top 10. I believe Erez is starting a lap here as well, and Al Stefano just behind them. So we'll stay on board with these two drivers, as it looks like a lot of drivers have finished their second laps now. I assume both Johnny and Jerome are saving sets of tyres for the race, as they have only completed one lap so far. Hopefully it'll be a chaotic race. Normally there is some sort of bug that plagues RPR around Mexico, so hopefully we avoid that today. Obviously I do not know what the rain forecast is like for the main race. I assume it will be dry, but we'll find out, as Jerome has just made his way onto the track to start his final lap with 3 minutes left to go. Erez now Let's see what his Sector 2 improvements looks like. It looks like it's been a fairly clean lap. He is matching his time so far. So he's going to need a big final sector. Let's go on board with him now. Can he get it turned in early? He can, but he's carrying him way too much speed. Gone too deep. That's going to compromise his whole run now, all the way to the final corner. Has he been able to rescue that at all? It doesn't look like he's able to. He's going to go for a short run to the line. Can he improve? And he can by 3/10. Put himself just behind his teammate Cam Ruddy. El Stefano now. Can he improve? No, he has invalidated the lap. Wow, this has been a very full-on qualifying session so far. Drivers now will be looking to start their final laps of the session. El Stefano will continue on here. I believe there is an Alpine about to cross the line to start their lap of Cherry. So we will stay on board with him. He will be the first driver, I believe, to complete their first final lap. Coming down into turn 1 now. He's wearing a Ferrari helmet, which looks a bit odd, if I must say, in an Alpine. Can he spot his brake zone? 100 metre board. Could have used a bit more curb on the entry there, decides not to. Clatters the second curb, but misses the final one. DRS wide open now. Let's see what his split will be. There's an Aston Martin in... No, there isn't an Aston Martin. There's now a Alpine in front of him, getting out of the way of a teammate, as Cherry is a 10th up for that first sector. I am interested, though, in Jerome's first sector split. Can he mount a challenge to Johnny Stokes' lap of a 1:16.3 as Jerome comes through the first corner, and he is 1/10 up. He's over 1/10 up at the minute. If he can hold this and make similar improvements, he will go to pole position. So let's stay on board with Jerome. He has a little bit of traffic ahead of a Williams, who gets nicely out of the way of him. Coming through sector 2 now. Let's see the commitment from him. Flat out through the little lift through the third battle. He goes wide, but there's lag, so he's completely fine actually. And through the second sector split, he's now up by 3/10. This improvement would be enough for him to go to a provisional pole position. Coming through the final sector now, he loses the rear end, but the rotation he got might have been enough for him to hold the time that he gained. Can he be good enough through the final corner? Hopefully he hasn't lost too much time with that mistake. Coming across the line now, what does he do? He goes to pole with a 1:16.370, but only 7 thousandths ahead of Johnny Stokes, who has just started his lap. Cherry managed to not improve in the end. We have a Red Bull coming across the line to start their lap. Behind there's a Mercedes of Cam Ruddy, who doesn't improve on his lap, so he is done now. Errors is in the pits. Who else is there to cross the line? We have an Aston Martin of RPR Chubb. He's up by just under a 10th now. Can he improve in this sector 3? He hugs the inside line. Better run than he did last time. He goes up to P3 for 1:16.9, putting himself just ahead of Mrs. Carl, who is going through turn 1. El Stefano now. Where does he go up to? I've completely lost him. I moved up into 50th, and he is finished as the checkered flag is out. We have another Aston Martin coming through. Scotty, who displaces his teammate from 3rd position. Next across the line is the Alfa Romeo of GGC, who goes up to 11th. Johnny Stokes will be the next driver, who's only a 10th up. If he keeps his final sector clean, he will have pole position for the Mexican Grand Prix. Through the final corner now, hugging the inside. Can he get pole position here? Yes, he can. And he improves by 2.5 tenths to go 2.5 tenths quicker than his nearest rival. Jerome next across the line as the Williams pair of Leon and Alex. Alex improves to displace his teammate by a 10th, but Leon invalidated. Full air next across the line. He's down on his time at the minute. Can he improve? No, he cannot. Cam Ruddy is coming into the pits, and I believe that is all she wrote, as Mrs. Carl is 20 seconds down on her time. Wow, there you have it. What a chaotic qualifying. If the race is anything like that, I am very excited for this one. Johnny Stokes takes your pole position, then followed by Jerome in 2nd. The 2 Aston Martins in 3rd and 4th. Then you have Mrs. Carl with an impressive P5. She'll be hoping to do better in the race and move forward. The 2 Williams pairs have put in a great qualifying in 6th and 7th. And you have the first rookie of Full Air. Managed to pick up a podium last week. He'll be disappointed with only qualifying P8. The reserve of Womax is in 9th. Cam Ruddy in 10th. GGC only 11th, who will be disappointed in that. Cherry only 12th, another one disappointed. And then to round off, you have Ared, Freddie Saint, El Stefano, and then, as always, starting from the back, you have Frenzy. Next up is the Mexican Grand Prix race. Drivers will now be putting in their final preparations to start the formation lap here. Johnny Stokes will lead them away from the pole position, with Jerome following him. Let's get the right telemetry up. We will not need the lap data, and we will have a look at positions change at the start of this Grand Prix. Then, one thing to note is the absence of the Ferrari driver of Epic and Boichi, or Puggy Ethan. Both put up an amazing fight last week. Looked like they had some great pace. Boichi, obviously, or Puggy Ethan, sorry, DNF'd very quickly in the main race, but they both had some great pace. Obviously, Epic challenging Johnny Stokes for the race win. Your strategy here for today. We'll have a look at the tyre selection. Actually, it'll probably be the best thing. And here we go, mixture of strategies. Johnny Stokes on pole with the medium tyres. Jerome is on the hard. Scotty interestingly gone for the soft, so going aggressive there at the start, maybe hoping for an early safety car. Chubb has gone mediums. Mrs. Carl has followed Jerome on the hards. Both of the Williams have gone mediums. Full Air is on the hards. Woomax as mediums. Cam Ruddy is the only other driver on soft, and then the rest of the grid is all on mediums. So we are poised for a very exciting race here with Johnny Stokes on the pole position. What can Jerome do into turn one is the question I am interested in. Obviously, it's a very big pinch point, but we will find out in moments' time as the drivers come through to line up on the grid. Can Johnny Stokes win the first two races of the season and cement this amazing start to the new season, challenging for his first title on a Monday night? Or could someone else take away his throne at the top of Monday night's Legends League? We will find out in a moment's time as the drivers are starting to line up on the grid. Now we have a really good camera angle for the run into turn one, so let's get rid of all of this so we get a nice clear picture of the drivers, as we have 3, 4, 5 red lights now for the Mexican Grand Prix. And It is go as the lights go out on my screen, but not on the driver's screen. And Johnny gets an amazing start there. Jerome looks like he's dropping back a little bit on them hard tyres. We have Scotty moving up alongside Johnny Stokes now. Can he do him round the outside into turn one? No, he could not, but can he hold on to Jerome? Yes, he can. We have drivers going side by side in the background there. We have Pinfight in the exit of the track, but Scotty does come out in second. We have Alex moving up into P4. Mrs. Carl stays in P5. RPR Chubb has stayed in position, but he has sent one down the inside of Mrs. Carl. Can he hold it around the outside? That would be impressive if he could. Some drivers going off in the background there. But Mrs. Carl manages to hold on to the P5 now. Let's get rid of the tyres. We know what they are on. Coming through the middle sector now as it's all getting a bit bunched up. We have drivers going side by side at the back. That is El Stefano and Frenzy, I believe, who's only made up one position. GGC has lost 5 positions there at the back as they all now come through to the stadium section for the first time this race. Mrs. Carl managing to fend off RPR Chubb at the start there. She's obviously on them hard tyres, so she will find a much more difficult time on these opening few laps there in the hards. As we come through to finish lap 1 now, we have Johnny Stokes in first, followed closely by Scotty and Jerome, who only loses 1 place. That guy Alex has picked up 2 places, is now into 4th, and he's making a move on Jerome down into turn 1. Obviously no DRS enabled. Can he keep it stuck into turn 1 down the inside? Yes, he can. Mrs. Carr getting very close to Jerome, goes wide there. Can Chubb get a run on her out of turn 3? I don't think he can this time round, so he's going to have to wait for the DRS potentially. So Jerome now in 4th, Mrs. Carr still in 5th. We have Chubb in 6th, followed closely by Fuller. Leon loses 1 position, is now in P8. Womax holds station in 9th. Cam Ruddy holds on to that final point position at the minute in 10th. Cherry's managed to pick up 1 position, is now in 11th. Freddie Saint also picks up 2 positions. Erez has held. Frenzy from the back has picked up 2 positions. El Stefano has remained where he is. And GGC, the biggest loser at the start of this race, has lost out on 5 positions. Let's hope that he has no damage, as Leon looks to be making a move on Fuller. So has Fuller made a mistake through Sector 2? I assume so. Obviously, this will be where we start to see the effects of setups. I would suggest the higher setup is the most favourable during the race, as you're able to stay closer through the cars through that middle sector. Using a lower downforce setup just means that you lose so much time and you can't really make it up on the straight. Is Chubb going to go for a move now, Mrs. Carr? Yes, he is. Down the inside. Can he get it stopped under braking? Yes, he can. But Mrs. Carr's going to hold it around the outside. She's going to keep her front wing in there. But Chubb cuts across her into turn 2 and manages to hold on to the position there. Still no DRS for these drivers. That will be activated the next time they go down the main straight. We have Leon, in behind. Can he go down the inside of Mrs. Carr? Yes, he can. He'll have the outside now for the next section of track. Can he hold it around the outside and produce a Lando Norris-esque overtake? Yes, he can. Leon is up into P6 now, ahead of Mrs. Carl, who is going backwards a little bit on them hard tyres. Alex now has got the DRS on Scotty, so Scotty hasn't looked to make the most of them soft tyres so far. I'd have expected him to close closer up to the back of Johnny Stokes, but he is yet to do that. Alex is going to get a chance into turn 1, possibly with the DRS. He might have cut the corner there coming into the final one, might have just extended a bit too much on the entry, as Alex does set the fastest lap of the race, showing his pace on the medium so far. He doesn't have much ERS though. Is he able to mount an attack onto Scotty into the first corner? I think he's going to be just a bit too far off. It would be a big lunge from there. As in the background, Mrs. Carl and Leon are fighting as Mrs. Carl gets up ahead of Leon. We have Womax and Cam Ruddy fighting in the background as well. Cam Ruddy on them soft, looking to try and find a way past the Haas reserve driver. And Frenzy and Freddie Saint are going side by side through the turn 1, 2, 3 section, and Frenzy manages to come out on top there. Looking up towards the front of the grid now, Leon and Mrs. Carl still going at it. Leon giving a little bump there through the double right-hander of turn 6 and 7, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 it is. Look at that. My circuit knowledge is far too good. Leon now picks up a 3-second time penalty, but he is right on the back of Mrs. Carl, who is flashing. Is he going to send one up the inside into the stadium section? That would be a brave move if he can get through there. But Mrs. Carl able to hold on for the time being. Hopefully Leon can quickly get by Mrs. Carl so we can stop losing time and go on an attack to Chubby. Really needs to get this move done now. Mrs. Carl will not have DRS this time around, so it should be a fairly simple move for Leon going down into turn 1, and he will get the move done well before the break is over by the looks of it. Mrs. Carl should just stick behind him and try and save some of her ERS as she is low at the minute. But wow, so far this has been a very entertaining race with lots of action all up and down the grid. Let's go back to the front now though, as Alex is still trying to close back in on Scotty. Obviously them softs won't last very long. I'd assume they wouldn't go much further past lap 8. I assume Scotty might try and go for a 2-stop if he is starting on the softs, unless he's going to go for a monster stint on the hard compound tyre. Johnny Stokes on them mediums though isn't pulling away as much as I thought, so maybe he's just controlling his pace. He is on 60% ERS, so he has been pushing that ERS just a little bit, but Alex is still nicely behind the gearbox of Scotty. We'll stay on board with this battle, see if Alex can mount a challenge into turn 1 as Frenzy is going for a move into the stadium section. That would be a lovely move by Frenzy if he holds on, which he does. Cherry then just struggling a little bit on these mediums at the moment, whereas Frenzy is relishing it coming from the back by the looks of it. Alex though not close enough into turn 1 to overtake Scott. He doesn't need to overtake him right now as Woomax gets past the Red Bull of Full Air into 8th position. Both drivers on the mediums, I believe, unless Full Air is on the hards, which he is. So the race will come to these hard compound drivers as Alex has made a move around the outside of Scotty. Sorry that I missed that, but he's made a move around the outside of Scotty into 2nd place now. He has got Johnny Stokes ahead of him by 3 seconds. Alex really needs to try and push now, use the tyre advantage that he will have. I assume this now means that we're at the crossover period where the softs are burning off. Jerome has managed to claw back into the second, into the DRS, as he is now just under 9 tenths behind the Aston Martin driver. I think if Jerome manages to get past Scotty, then Scotty needs to be looking at making a pit stop. Them softs clearly haven't worked out so far. Mrs. Carl is still holding on to the back of Leon on them hard tyres. I must say Williams have had a great start to this race so far, moving up both 4 positions and 1 position for Leon. 2nd and 6th would be a great result if they manage to stay here. Woomax going very defensive very early on, so he clearly feels the threat of Full Air behind, who has gone for the move as Woomax is flashing. So that is an easy move there from Full Air, who will need to be saving his ERS soon as he's down low, as he has drifted through turn 1 there. So maybe he needs to bring his brake bias a little bit forward to avoid doing that. Tyre wear, specifically the rears, can play a big factor during this race. You need to be able to look after them, as Scotty has managed to get back ahead of Alex as we were watching that battle between Full Air and Woomax. So both times these two guys have overtaken each other. I've missed it on both times, so I will stay on board with these for now unless I see a very good close battle. Mrs. Carl has got closer to Leon, but has just lost out about half a second during that middle sector, so she might have made a little bit of a mistake. Well, the hard tyres just aren't as good as the mediums just yet. Alex right on the back of Scotty coming out his final corner, though, basically push him round. Alex will have an easy move down into turn 1 surely. DRS is activated for the Williams driver as he pulls alongside now. Jerome is in the back with a watching brief of these two. He'll be hoping to capitalise on this. There's again the flag in sector 3 for the McLaren driver of Freddie Tate, but Alex has managed to move himself up into 2nd position yet again. He will get DRS for a second time down this second straight, as Freddie Saint has got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That is very unfortunate for him. Crazy race so far between these drivers though, as Womack and Fuller are trading places yet again. Keep it clean, boys. This is a very Mickey Mouse section of track, as Fuller gets a 3-second penalty trying to go off track. Can he run it around the outside of Womack? No, he cannot. And he's just going to slot in just behind the Haas driver. One thing I quickly want to look at is GGC, who has fallen down a lot. Has he made a pit stop? Yes, he has, so that would suggest why he has dropped so far down. Alex and Scotty now. Can Scotty respond to Alex like he did a few laps ago, or are them tyres completely gone? I would assume the latter, as you see Scotty trying to pick up a more narrow line through the final corner. That could suggest he's trying to get the car straightened up and tighter to the corner. Not too confident on them rear tyres anymore, but it looks like he's going to go for another move. Alex doesn't put on much of a defence as Scotty goes down the inside. By the looks of it, Scotty is running a much lower downforce setup to what Alex is, as Cam Ruddy makes the first pit stop of the race. He is pitting off of the soft tyres, so that is a good indication of how long these tyres can go. That would suggest Scotty does not have long to go on these tyres at all, as Cam Ruddy now is going to come out of the pits just behind El Stefano down in 14th position. But that is a good indication to me that these tyres are falling off and have gone past their best. So Alex now losing a lot of time stuck behind Johnny. Maybe it is factoring by the setups they're using. Alex looks much more comfortable through these middle sector and in the final sector, whereas Scotty looks like to have a lot of pace down the main straight. Jerome now right up behind these two. Let's see what he can do with 70% ERS. So Jerome is looking like he's in a much more comfortable position than the Williams and Aston Martin in front of him. Looks like Scotty's got a good run out of the final corner there, so he might be protected from Alex. Alex will get another dose of DRS though down into turn 4. So if Alex can get a good run through turn 2 and 3, he might be able to mount a challenge. These three drivers so far look to be keeping it very safe with track limits, which will become a factor at some point in this race, as we've already seen a few drivers get caught up by the strict track limits here. As El Stefano's retired from the race in the pits though. That's unfortunate for him. Clearly not enjoying this track very much. GGC is promoted to 14th, and so is Freddie Saint, as El Stefano's left, maybe causing a little bit of lag for these drivers. But Johnny Stokes, what a start to this race so far. He has commanded the pace. He's on 50% ERS coming now to start. Lap 10 looks incredibly comfortable out in the lead. Looks like he's in his element. As Scotty now comes into the pits to get rid of them soft tyres, I'll be interested to see what he goes on to and also where he comes out. I want to assume that he's going to come out somewhere around this battle for 8th position between Womack, Fuller, and now Frenzy has joined the back of it. But no, Scotty is much further back, only just coming out of the pits. Did he have to change his wing maybe? I'm not too sure, but it seemed like he was held for quite a long time, as Scotty is now only going to come out of the pits behind Cherry, so he has dropped down to 12th position. He has lost a lot of places, and he's now kind of out of sync with them two drivers that he was fighting with. That's the risk when you go for the soft. Yes, he is now on a fresher set of tyres, and he did improve by 1 position. However, he's going to struggle for the remainder of the race if he aims to go to the end. We'll have a quick look on what tyres he is on. He's on the hard, so he will try and go to the end, as RPR Chubb picks up a 3-second time penalty. Womack, Fuller and Frenzy fighting at the back. But if I can just go back to Scotty and have a little talk about his strategy choice here, as it looks like Frenzy's going to go for the inside. Bit of a late move there from Full Air, which puts Frenzy off going for the move. Can Frenzy do him around the outside into the stadium station? No, he thinks better off it. He's just going to cut back and wait for the DRS. But really, Scotty's race is now. He has to put in a good few laps here, but also needs to make sure he doesn't take too much out of them tyres. If he takes too much out of them tyres, he'll just fall back, because Alex will pit for hards and be on a much fresher set than what he is, and will be able to lap much quicker. Jerome is currently on the hard tyres, so will pit for mediums, and he, out of them three, should be the quickest driver now to the end of the race. I am very impressed with Jerome so far, as we see Frenzy going for a move down the outside of Full Air. Looks very close into the braking zone there. Frenzy's going to try and run it around the outside. Gets the inside now for turn 5. He does hold on to that as Alex picks up a 3-second penalty. That is not going to help him in the fight for the podium positions, as Frenzy gets that move done now, as he had the inside into turn 6 and 7. Frenzy has made up some great positions on these first 12 laps. Miss Carl gets herself a 3-second time penalty, but she is now 2.5 seconds behind Leon. So Leon has picked the pace up by the looks of it. Mrs. Carl just fallen off, maybe making a few mistakes here and there. But as I was saying, Jerome looks to be in the best position out of Alex, Jerome and Scotty. Is Jerome going to go for the overtake now, using a bit of the ERS? Can he get his stop down the inside? Yes, he can. Easily. Can he hold on to the position? No, it looks like he's run a bit wide. Avoids that final curb, try and get a good run. He will get the DRS again, which will protect him from the Williams of Alex, as Scotty now is moving up above Erez, and Frenzy has just whacked one around the outside of Womack. That was a great move from Frenzy there, clearly showing he has the pace to potentially challenge for top 5 here. He's doing very good, but his ERS is low. Is Full Air going to try and settle down the inside of Womack? Yes, he is, as he fakes going to the outside and goes to the inside. That is an amazing move there for Full Air. Can Womack get the old switcheroo on him? No, he can't. So Womack there has lost 2 positions in the space of 2 straight. Not a great first half of lap 13 for Womack. Back to the front here, and Jerome will be looking to try and close that gap now to Johnny Stokes as we go on to lap 14. I wonder when these medium drivers will pit. I assume somewhere around lap 18. I assume Jerome will be aiming for lap 19, maybe lap 20. He will be able to pit a little bit earlier, as obviously he'll be on lower fuel and be running the softer tyre of the mediums compared to the hards on a grippier track, as Scotty has set the fastest lap. So as I was saying, this is a crucial point of the race for Scotty, where he has to put these clean, consistent laps in, and also not take too much out of the tyres, as we have the Mercedes of Erez and the Alpine of Cherry into the pits. So they're going to come out quite a way off at the back. Freddie Saint and GGC will be looking to close them down. Jerome hasn't managed to pull out on Alex. However, the pair of them have closed in a couple of attempts on Johnny Stokes. Johnny Stokes on 35% ERS. So maybe is Johnny struggling on these tyres now? Is his setup maybe a bit too aggressive, where the tyres fall off at the end of the stint, and he is coming into the pit now to put on the hard tyres? So this is a crucial point in the race for both Jerome and Alex, as Alex stays out on them mediums. Alex and Jerome really need to work together now to try and eke back some of this time that they lost in the first half of the first stint. Is Alex going to go for a move? No, he's just going to sit in behind. Where will Johnny Stokes come out on track? It looks like Frenzy will be challenging him in turn 1. Frenzy's ahead of him before turn 1, so Johnny Stokes isn't going to be in clear air, as Scotty is trying to find his way by this bit of traffic. He managed to get by Womack into turn 1. Next up for him is Full Air. He needs to try and pick this traffic off quickly but carefully. He can't afford to get a bit of wing damage or get caught behind them for too long. He has come out actually very close to Scotty. He's only about 2 seconds behind him, which is very interesting to me because it shows how good a fresh set of tyres are compared to an old set. Johnny Stokes getting caught up a little bit behind Frenzy. He needs to get by him quickly. This is perfect for the race of Jerome and Alex, who are looking to stretch out their margin. I wonder if Alex will respond to the Alpine of Johnny Stokes. No, he doesn't. He stays out on track. I think that is a good decision from Alex, following what Jerome does, as Scotty makes a crucial move on Fuller. Can he get DRS off Johnny Stokes? I don't think he can. He's going to be about 2 seconds behind him. Johnny Stokes is going to look to get past Frenzy as soon as possible, basically pushing him there through the final corner, as he's already basically by him by the time they get to the DRS, and Johnny isn't having to use any overtake there, which will become a crucial tool later in the race. Scotty did manage to gap Fuller more than enough during that final corner to be able to keep himself safe into turn one. Next on his hit list is Frenzy. So Scotty and Johnny Stokes pitting early. We know Johnny Stokes, Scotty and Cherry are in a party together. They are 3 drivers that have looked to have made very early pit stops so far. So I wonder if this is a tactical plan by these guys to pit early, put the fresh rubber on. But I just think Johnny Stokes is playing himself into a corner here. He's come out in traffic because of the undercut. Jerome has to put on a quicker set of tyres to the end of this race. Johnny Stokes is hard. Yes, they're the hard tyres, and yes, they can go a long way, as Cam Ruddy picks himself up a 3-second tyre penalty there. I believe that is his second of the race. The hard tyres could go a long way. We know that. We know they have very good wear. And as Scotty has shown, in clear air, they are a good tyre at this point in the race. They can produce some good times. However, we know that the mediums are a better tyre at the end of this race. And with the offset in the age in the tyres, the compound of the tyres, I believe Jerome might have a bit too much pace for Johnny. Even if Jerome is lacking a bit of pace, right, as we saw in qualifying, he was 2.5 tenths behind Johnny. I believe that will be made up by Johnny Stokes getting caught in this traffic here, as Leon has actually let him go through, so that is good for Johnny. He hasn't lost that much time, and he will get a clean run through sector 2 now. However, he will not pick up the DRS, which is obviously a crucial factor at picking up time around this circuit. I think Jerome is in a great position here. However, he does not want to go too long on these hards. He needs to pit for the mediums, come out and bang some laps. He cannot afford to come out in traffic, as Chubb has picked up a 5-second penalty, speed into the pits. I wonder where he will come out, as who else come into the pits? Both Leon and Mrs. Carr have come in. That promotes Frenzy up into 5th place, who is going long on the hard tyres as well, I believe. Or is he on the mediums? He's on the mediums. So Alex and Frenzy stay out a long time on these mediums. So is Woomax at the minute. Cam Ruddy's on 9-lap old mediums, and he's just come out ahead of Chubb. So Chubb coming out into just a little bit of traffic. This is the crucial thing for these front run drivers. It's making sure you get a bit of an overcut on the drivers behind, so you come out in 3A. You don't want to be getting caught up because the field is so tightly compact at the minute. You have several strategies crossing over each other that if you're not careful, you will get caught up in some traffic and you will lose time. Leon has made a bunch of time on Mrs. Carr there, and he is right up behind her now. They have gone on to the hard tyres for Leon and the mediums for Mrs. Carr, who will go to the end. So Mrs. Carr now is on the quickest tyre really for the race. Obviously there is a soft tyre, but it doesn't last long enough to be influential enough in producing a quick race time. as Chubb manages to get past Cam Ridley into the stadium station, as we have that guy Alex coming into the pits now to get rid of his mediums and strapping on some of the hards. But like I'm saying, we've just got to look at the laps that these tyres have done already. Johnny Stokes 4 laps. Scotty has already done 8 laps. Scotty's 8-lap old hard will be so much slower at the minute than a fresh set of mediums that Jerome will put on, that he's going to be a sitting duck, as Cam Ridley actually comes back by Chubb, and Chubb's going to hang it round the outside at turn 1. Cam Ridley's going to leave him the space. That is some very clean and fair racing there, but Cam Ridley is going to get the DRS. This really is not helping Chubb in his fight for a top 5. He's getting held up here by the Mercedes driver. He needs to make sure he has a very good middle sector to be able to pull out a decent bit of a gap to the Mercedes driver of Cam Ridley, hoping that he doesn't have the DRS. Johnny Stokes though is now just starting to wheel in Jerome by a little amount each lap. He's taken off a second this lap. The gap was just over 10 seconds. It's now just under 9 seconds. So he's come down by 1.5 seconds as Alex manages to send one on Fuller. That was very close to the back of Alex by Fuller. Fuller obviously hasn't made that pit stop yet because he's on the hard tyres. Neither has Frenzy. This is the thing. Going longer for some of these drivers like Frenzy and Fuller, they have a lot of time to make up. They're getting, at the minute, caught up in battles that they shouldn't really be in. Alex and Fuller aren't in the same race. Likewise with Frenzy and Scotty and Frenzy and Alex. You know, Chubb and Cam Ridley is a perfect example of it. A driver who comes in to the pits from the leading few drivers and gets caught up behind someone that's pitted earlier in the race, get an early advantage. You lose so much time in doing so. As Freddie Saint that's come into the pits to get rid of his soft tyres, he will go mediums to the end, I assume. Well, this is just a crossover period in the race where a lot of drivers are battling each other who actually aren't fighting for the overall position of the race, as Jerome now comes into the pits to get rid of them hard tyres. This is a crucial section of the race. Let's see where he comes out in relation to other drivers. Scotty now coming through the final corner, so Scotty's going to be ahead of Jerome by a good amount. Frenzy will be the next driver threatening Jerome. Can Jerome come out ahead of him? I don't think he can. Alex was who he was fighting with on track. Where do they come out in relationship to each other? Jerome is coming out onto the track now. Alex has the speed though, and he has the slipstream. Can Alex make a move in turn 1? No, he can't. He's too far back, and that is perfectly timed by Jerome. Obviously, he's on them colder tyres, so he needs to get them warmed up quickly. He is vulnerable to Alex here, but Alex does not have the DRS. But will he make a move into turn 4? No, he does not, as Jerome manages to hold on to that 4th position. Very, very good pit stop there by Jerome, but Jerome has a bit of lag holding the 2 up. I believe that's Jerome's connection. As the connection all around looks a bit better this week. Obviously, if I'm hosting, I'll have a good connection anyway. But the crucial thing that I want to point out to our viewers watching the live stream right now and on the replay is, look at the gap between Jerome and Johnny Stokes. There's about 13-14 seconds in that. 13 seconds. Jerome, as there is a crash in the midfield, that is Leon who is out of the race now, and there is a safety car out, so that has not helped Jerome at all. I was just about to say how good this has been for Jerome, as the gap was only 14 seconds. However, that's going to come down now. Johnny Stokes is going to get a free pit stop. Luckily, Johnny Stokes went by the safety car, meaning that Jerome isn't going to lose out as much, as they will both pit. Frenzy dived straight into the pits, so did Alex. So unless Jerome's going to stick it out on these tyres, to be fair, he's just come out on them. He has just come out on these tyres, and they've done one warm-up lap, so they will be completely fine till the end. Obviously though, this gives Johnny the chance, a great chance, to come in and put a fresh set of tyres on, because Johnny was going to be massively under threat at the end of this race. Pitting that early on the hard tyres, same with Scotty. This has saved Johnny and Scotty's race for a podium, 100%. These two have got a free pit stop from this, and they're going to be able to come out in first and second. Jerome has lost out massively. Jerome was going to come into this race at the very end of it, as we have two drivers of Frenzy and Alex coming out on soft tyres, which is very interesting to me. I wonder if these can go to the end. I assume so. I assume they can go to the end, but most drivers look like they are pitting for the medium tyres. In a second, once all the pit stops are complete and the drivers are stacking up behind the safety car, we will go through the grid, see who are the winners and losers of this safety car, as both Johnny comes into the box, so will Scotty. I assume Jerome will stay out, and he gets Scotty and he gets Johnny Stokes in the pit lane, so Jerome has moved up 2 positions. Johnny Stokes has still some work to do, but he's on 2 laps newer, fresher tyres than Jerome. So this has now flipped from Jerome having an advantage with the tyre wear and therefore with the pace, to now that advantage being completely gone for the Ferrari driver. Johnny Stokes and Scotty have both played themselves right in to the race victory here because of a safety car due to Leon, which is very unfortunate for the Williams driver of Leon. He was doing amazing throughout the race. Looks like Williams were going to score some really, really good points, especially Leon in his first race for the Legends League. But unfortunately, he's come a cropper through Sector 2. Very difficult sector of track. If the car isn't quite hooked up through there, you will suffer. Drivers now are starting to catch up to the back of the safety car. Most pit stops look like they have been completed. So let's have a run through of what tyres people are on and who are the winners and losers of this safety car. In first, Jerome on a medium set of tyres that he didn't put on during the safety car. He came in just before the safety car was released. He only did one warm-up lap basically on that set of tyres. That is it. Johnny Stokes and Scotty behind him, pitted under the safety car for the medium tyres. Interestingly, behind them two, you have Frenzy and that guy Alex on the soft tyres, so they will be a threat for the podium. If Johnny Stokes and Scotty hesitate at all on the first opening lap, they will be a threat to the soft runners. Full Air, similar situation to Jerome, where he managed to come in just before the safety car, is on the medium tyres, same age as Jerome. RPR Chubb, I believe, has just pitted for that set of mediums, as he started on the medium tyres, so he's gone back onto a set of mediums. Mrs. Carl has put on a new set of mediums, I think. Let's get the stops up, as that will be able to make us. So yes, Mrs. Carl came back into the pit and put on a set of medium tyres. Cameron, he made his second stop onto medium, same as Aaron, same as Cherry, who is going to be brought right back into the race, same as Woomax, who interestingly is on the hards. I wonder if he will come into the pits here. No, I assume he doesn't have any other fresh set of tyres, so he's been forced to put the hards on. But luckily for GGC and Freddie, GGC has gone on to the soft tyres during that pit stop. They were quite far at the back of the grid, not lapped, which is the crucial bit, and they will get a chance to close back up to the pack and begin racing yet again. So these two drivers are being brought back into the race, and obviously our two DNFs, Leon, who has brought the safe car out, and El Stefano, who retired in the pit. But there we have it. That is your rundown so far of the grid. We will have, more than likely, I assume this will go in at the end of lap 25, we will have 10 laps or 11 laps when this goes. Safety car is still staying out on track, so a few drives go through sector 2. But wow, what a race this has been so far, and another curveball thrown into the mix of this RPR 010 Monday's Legend League season. We're in round 2 at Mexico. The first round was in COTA. We had a sprint race there. Johnny Stokes managed to win that race. He'll be going for 2 wins in a row to start the season off. Jerome is reserving tonight in the place of Epic, who gave Johnny Stokes an epic race last time out, as Rumax does come into the pitch to get rid of them hard tyres. Can Jerome throw a spanner in the works as a reserve driver to Johnny Stokes' season? Obviously, Jerome should have been doing this track yesterday in the Sunday F1 League. However, we had to have a break week due to the real life Grand Prix, so we will be back this Sunday for the Mexican Grand Prix. That should be an absolute banger of a race, which Jerome will be participating in. Hopefully Johnny Stokes will be able to get there, and Scotty Harris will also be racing in that. So whilst I've got this time, if you do fancy some no assist racing, we do have a couple of seats left in that Sunday F1 League. Obviously we've already had one race, however we had a very small grid, still an amazing race, but a small grid with some amazing drivers in there who race for esports teams in team events. So if you want to get involved in a bit of competitive racing that allows no assist or line only, please get in contact with us on our YouTube. Go to the Discord, there should be a link in the description to the Discord. Please get involved. Messages on Twitter, on our TikTok, anything. Come and get involved in Rapid Pixel Racing as we produce amazing racing and have a great community. The safety car is coming into the pits now. We will have 11 laps from the start of this lap. Jerome in first now controls the field. Is he able to hold on to this first position to the end and take his first win in Rapid Pixel Racing this season? Johnny Stokes second, looking to get by Jerome as quick as possible, and I believe Jerome has already gone. Jerome has spun! Jerome has spun it as he started the race. Oh my goodness. Jerome has spun it. He's had the chance of a lifetime to go and win this Grand Prix, but he's spun. I was wondering what was happening as his name was dropping down the field. He has spun. So Johnny Stokes takes over the lead of this race, and also the safety car restart, as you have the Red Bull of Full Air going down. Oh no, sorry, defending from Frenzy. Frenzy manages to scoop around the outside. That's a brilliant move from Frenzy on the soft compound tyres. We have Alex just behind that in fifth. But oh my word, Johnny Stokes has managed to get by Jerome soon as possible due to Jerome's mistake at the start of the race, as Red Bull's having a look down the inside of Frenzy, but Frenzy managed to hold on on the soft compound tyres. Frenzy is a serious candidate for the win of this race if he's managed to keep this clean, and if them soft tyres manage to last the distance. Obviously we saw him drop off of Scotty Harris quite quickly. And there was also another driver of them, Cam Ruddy was also on them, and they managed to drop off of him as well. Let's get the penalty situation up, as there's a lot of drivers with penalties. Most of them are on 3 seconds of penalties, so it won't affect them if they're in a battle with each other. However, Erez has 6 seconds worth of penalties. What an incredible start there. I did not expect Jerome to lose it like that. All he had to do was get through that final corner, get a few laps under his belt, and that was it. He was going to have a great battle with Johnny Stokes, but Johnny Stokes would be given an absolute lifeline here. He's one, being given the safety car, and two, had his main rival spin out before the race even went back to green flag racing. Can Frenzy send one up the inside of Scott Intertel? No, he doesn't. He is on them soft compound tyres, so he is at a grip advantage over the Aston Martin driver. Alex is in watching brief there on the soft compound tyres. Can he go for a move on full air now? He's not using that overtake, but he would be able to send one here and get his stop down on the softer tyres, but he decides not to. But Frenzy, oh no, full air goes very, no, he's just loud, sorry. RPR Chubb, he's in watching brief as well in 6th place. He's on them medium tyres. Mrs. Carl did just get an extra 3 second penalty. Connect, I apologise for that. Mrs. Carr, as I was saying, just picked up 6 seconds worth of penalty. She's just behind RPR Jump. And then we have the 2 Mercedes in the points at the meal, which is big results for them in 8th and 9th. However, Emirates does have that 6 seconds worth of penalty. Cherry has managed to find himself in 10th position. GGC is on the brink of points in 11th. He will be looking to take the fight to Cherry. Wumax is in 12th. DRS gets a neighbour now. But Jerome, oh my goodness, how has he bottled that much? All he needs to do is get through the final corner and restart the race. But he has had an absolute howler as Alex is trying to make a move now on Full Air with no DRS. Is he going to send one down the inside now? Yes, he does. Is he going to get it stopped into turn 1? Full Air's going to hold it in there. They go side by side by 2 and 3 as Full Air gets pushed off the track a little bit. And through goes RPR Chubb into 5th position. Is he able to have a run on to Alex now? No, he isn't. Full Air is flashing. RPR Chubb is going to send him the long way around the outside. Can he keep it in for turn 5? No, he can't. He's made contact and Full Air has had a half spin. And Mrs. Carl is able to get by Full Air. Just a little bit of contact between the rear of RPR Chubb's car and Full Air's front wing has been enough just to send Full Air around. You could say RPR Chubb is chopped in front of Full Air at turn 5 there, and Full Air was entitled to a bit more room. We'll see if anything is said in the incident reports after the race. But Frenzy is dropped to just over 1 second behind Scotty, so he needs to make sure he gets in this DRS. Johnny Stokes has been able to drop Scotty out of the DRS, and he is burning his overtake, which is interesting. This means that Johnny is at full pace here. He is trying to stretch the lead and get away from Scotty. Scotty has used less overtake than Johnny, so Scotty looks very comfortable. Could Scotty pick up a win? I highly doubt it. I reckon Johnny Stokes just has a bit too much talent for Scotty. No offence, Scotty. I think Johnny's natural pace will see him across the line. Frenzy has absolutely rinsed his overtake and he's down below 10%. We have battles at the back here between GGC and Cherry for 10th. GGC has managed to get itself into the points, and Jerome has got himself up ahead of the Haas driver of Womack. So this is a recovery drive now for Jerome, really. Looking like he could have picked up his first win of this RPR 010 season, either across Sunday F1 or the Legends League, but he has faltered when it counted most, and he now sees himself down in 12th position when he could have been fighting Johnny Stokes for the lead. Frenzy has managed to get himself into the DRS of Scotty. Can he hold on to this during this sector of track to be able to get it into turn 1 down the main straight? Yes, he can. However, he is very low on ERS. That guy Alex is also on the soft tyres and hasn't made the gains I thought he would. Chubb has dropped back about 2 seconds, so it does show that Frenzy and Alex have the pace at the medium at the minute over the medium compound drivers. Mrs. Carl does have the DRS to RPR Chubb as Cam Ruddy is going for a move on Full Air. Come on, my sunshine, up into P7. Get in there, Cam Ruddy. The Mercedes driver, the rookie, in his second race in RPR, looking to score some good points at the minute. He's on for P6, including Mrs. Carr's 6 seconds worth of penalties. He's on the medium tyre, so his tyres will not go off at the end of this race. There is 6 laps left in this Grand Prix. We have Jerome just behind GGC as Jerome managed to get by Cherry. We have Johnny Stokes still holding Scotty at 1.5 second lead. Frenzy's just dropped out of the DRS now, still burning that overtake. Alex is just watching behind, but he is also using his overtake. So Alex is on 20%, and unfortunately does have that 3-second time penalty as GGC picks up a 3-second time penalty. So that could hamper his chances of picking up points in this Grand Prix. The drivers look like they are just settling down into a rhythm in what has been a mini sprint, I guess you could call it. But Johnny Stokes has now stretched his advantage to over 2 seconds. So maybe Scotty has made a mistake as Frenzy is back in his DRS. Cam Ruddy and Full Air is the closest battle on track at the minute. Full Air has got DRS with Cam Ruddy as he goes down the main straight. Both drives flashing because of the ERS shorted as Full Air manages to get by Cam Ruddy, and Jerome manages to get by GGC at the same time to get himself up into 10th position. We do not know actually if Jerome has any front wing damage or not. I couldn't see if he hit the wall or not. But next up on his list is Erez. Obviously, if Jerome can keep it clean and increase pace a little bit, get close to some of these drivers in front, he will get lucky with the penalties for the drivers in front and pick up a few positions that way. So not all is lost. However, he will be incredibly disappointed that he has lost out on a podium and the chance of the win. Frenzy now still 3/4 of a second behind Scotty. However, His ERS is extremely low, but so's Scotty's, as he's on 30%. Same as Johnny, but Johnny has managed to stretch out a comfortable lead as we go on to lap 32 out of lap 36 now. Frenzy has the DRS. Alex is still on the outside of that DRS. He's now dropped to 2 seconds behind Frenzy, so he might not pick up a podium today, as we have Cam Ruddy and Fuller in the background going for a move on each other. Cam Ruddy manages to get back up into P7. These two are putting on a great show here in their second race for Rapid Pixel Racing. Fuller actually used to race the Friday. We had a Friday race at like 10:30, I believe. It was called GP2, was what it was called. My bad. I believe he used to race GP2, but I'm not too sure. As Jerome now manages to overtake the other Mercedes of RS. So the Mercedes still holding on to 2 points here, 2 points positions here, which is great for them. That'll pick up some good points in the Constructors' Championship. Can Jerome close up to Fuller and Cam Ruddy now? As Cam Ruddy has stretched his margin to just under a second. Frenzy though gets a good run out of that middle sector complex. We'll go back on board to the fight with Scotty and Frenzy, but Frenzy doesn't seem like he can get close enough to Scotty as another lap goes by and the positions have not changed between these two. Can Frenzy pick up his second ever podium in Rapid Pixel races? Either second or third, don't quote me on that one, but it will be second or third podium ever in Rapid Pixel Racing. Scotty and Johnny Stokes have picked up way too many, so we don't want them to get any more podiums. That's the way it is. As Fuller and Cam Ruddy are fighting back at it again into turn 1. Cam Ruddy taking a lot of curb there at turn 2. Looks like he didn't get the best of exits, and the Red Bull driver is going to have DRS. He's going to use his overtake, go down into turn 4. Cam Ruddy shows him the outside. Can Fuller doing round the whole of the outside? Is he going to have contact? Did he do? Are they going to have more contact into turn 5 like he did with Chubb? Yes, they do, but they can manage to get around there okay. This is very hard racing between the two drivers, but very third as space is left for Cam Ruddy on the exit at turn 7, but Fuller manages to hold on to 7th position. Once again, this fighting has allowed Jerome to close up within a second of Cam Ruddy, so this could look like a very good recovery drive for Jerome with 3 laps remaining after this race of 34, 35 and 36. But Jerome needs to get past these two drivers as soon as possible. He cannot afford to lose that much time. Unfortunately for him, Mrs. Carl is 7 seconds down the road from full air, so he's going to need to put in some good laps to try and get ahead of her. Maybe, just maybe, he'll stand a chance of getting Chubb, but I highly doubt it. There's a yellow flag in Sector 3 as GGC has spun round at the final corner. That has removed his chances of potentially getting any points. That is unfortunate for him. Scotty and Frenzy, still no change there, as Alex has dropped down to 4 seconds behind Frenzy. So the top 3 are producing an amazing pace at the minute that hasn't been able to be held by Alex. RPR Chubb is right up behind again, so will they have another last lap change of position, or last few laps changes of position? This is becoming quite a common theme by the looks of it, that we have last lap battles up and down the grid in Rapid Pixel Racing. Jerome was unable to get ahead of either the Mercedes of Cam Ruddy or the Red Bull of Fuller. So this is probably seeing his chances of getting Mrs. Carl lower dramatically. But if he does get past these two quickly and has one clean lap or even a clean sector to his own, I'm confident that he'll be able to find the time to be able to get in the penalty zone of Mrs. Carl. Back to the front now. Frenzy and Scotty still going at it as we go into the penultimate lap of this Grand Prix. Scotty is within 2 seconds of Johnny Stokes. So is Johnny Stokes a little bit worried about Scotty here, as that gap has just come down ever so slightly? As Frenzy now underneath half a second. I assume he'll be trying to set up for a last lap overtake. RPR Chubb is just over a second behind Alex as Jerome gets by the Mercedes of Cam Ruddy and Womax gets by Cherry at the same time. So there's a potential for a lot of position changes to happen within the next lap and a half. Jerome now, next up on his list is Fuller. The two Mercedes drivers are still in the points. However, Womack is within 6 seconds of Erez, and so is Cherry. So there's a potential Erez drops down 2 positions here and does not get any points. I believe Camry will be okay to keep hold of his position, as we will go back to the fight at the front now as we're coming to the final lap of the Grand Prix. The last time that these drivers will go down the main straight and get DRS there. Frenzy has saved his battery up to 30% and has had the pace through the final sector close right up onto the gearbox of Scotty. Is Frenzy about to make a pass for P2 in this race? Scotty is using all of his overtake, same as Frenzy. Frenzy with the DRS is going to go down the inside of Scotty. Can he get his stops on the brakes? They're going to go side by side into turn 1. Scotty holds it round the outside of him. Great defense from Scotty. Frenzy's going to try and switch back on the exit of turn 3. He's going to get a second dose of DRS here. He's going to have to try and send it up the inside of turn 4, maybe around the outside for the inside at turn 5. He's going to do that. He's late on the brakes. He's got ahead of Scotty into the apex of turn 4. He's going to have the inside of turn 5, and it looks like he's got that move done, but Scotty's just on the outside, and I think he has managed to do it. Yes, he has. Frenzy moves himself up into P2. Amazing move there. Can he hold on to it for the rest of the race? There's not much to go here. Jerome, Fuller and Cam Ruddy are going side by side, so more battling through turn 5. Are they going to make it 3 right into turn 6? No, they're not. Jerome trying to hang it around the outside of Fuller. He isn't able to keep it stuck. We'll go back to that battle in a second as Frenzy and Scotty push each other off the track. Scotty overtakes him off the track. However, that might go to the stewards as he has got an unfair advantage overtaking off the track. I wonder if he has to give it back. Johnny Stokes comes across the line to pick up his second win of the season around Mexico. Scotty's going to come across the line to finish in second ahead of Frenzy. Alex will finish in 4th ahead of Chubb. Next up will be Mrs. Carr to finish in P6. She has a 6-second penalty though, so we need to keep an eye on that. And here is Fuller, Jerome and Cam Ruddy. Cam Ruddy has picked up another penalty, so he might be a threat of losing his position. Jerome gets ahead of Fuller because of penalties. Cam Ruddy finishes 9th on track. So Erez finishes 10th on track, but loses out to Womack, who picks up the final point position. And Erez also loses out of position to Cherry. And then we'll have GGC to come through in 13th and Freddie Tate to finish in 14th. But wow, what an incredible end to that race that was. We had some incredible battling between Scotty and Frenzy right to the line, basically. Whether that will be reported or not, from my point of view, it looks like that Scotty has sent it down the inside, made the move off the circuit, and in doing so also pushed Frenzy wide. Whether Frenzy will report it or not, look, personally, for the season, I would. Frenzy looks like he's going to be in a great battle here for the top position. Maybe not the very top position, as that looks to be in command by Johnny Stokes, who has been a league above the rest during this race. Obviously, we'll never know how it could have played out if Jerome didn't bottle it at the start of the safety car. Incredible little sprint towards the end of that race there. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope everyone watching at home also enjoyed that race. So much action up and down the field. We had a battle again for the final 2 podium spots, which you can see now. Topped by Johnny Stokes yet again. Scotty Harris in the Aston Martin in 2nd place. And Frenzy manages to come home in 3rd position. Maybe should have had back-to-back podiums here to start this season. Maybe should have had a 3rd and a 2nd place if Scotty didn't push him off the track. However, at the minute he's got to settle for a 4th and a 3rd. We will run through the drivers now then. Johnny Stokes wins the race with fastest lap. An incredible drive from him. I'm going to give him the drive of the day today. Commanded the race throughout, kept his calm, got the pole position, led the race, got fastest lap. Grand Slam, really? Did he leave every lap? No, he didn't, so that is not a Grand Slam. 2nd place, we have Scott in the Aston Martin. I'll be happy with that result. Frenzy in 3rd with a great drive. Then we have Alex 4th, Chubb losing a position in 5th, Mrs. Carr losing a position as well in 6th, Jerome having to fight back to 7th, Fuller 8th, Cam Ruddy 9th, Rumax will round out the points. Then we have Cherry, Erez, GGC, Freddy, and the two DNFs of Leon and El Stefano there as well. Wow. I am out of breath and need a drink now of water or alcohol. That was a crazy race there. If you're still watching, let me know who you thought your driver of the day was. Obviously, Frenzy has to be up there, but for me, Johnny Stokes absolutely commanded the race today. And yeah, I'm happy that he has managed to pick up two great results to start the season. My biggest upset from this race is obviously Jerome bottling the start. I was so looking forward to the battle between Johnny Stokes and him. Maybe Jerome could have held on. Johnny didn't pull out that much of a gap ahead of Scotty. The gap only really came out when he started battling properly with Frenzy. And then obviously Leon as well, causing that safety car. Big disappointment. That would have been great points for Williams there. Erez not managing to pick up points either because of the penalties. But well, we had some great results, some great racing yet again. Some amazing battles. Yeah, it was incredible. Let's see what he said in the chat. I thought we are doing Spain today, so I had no set. I'll try my Austria one, but I was 2 seconds off the page. Yeah, don't know where you got Spain from, to be honest, mate. There's no, there's a calendar in the Discord, El Stefano. So if you just stick to that, then you'll be able to see what races we are doing. Obviously I also put the director's notes as well out, so just keep an eye on the Discord and you'll see exactly what's going on. But I think that is everything for today. What a second round we have, what an iconic season we have forming so far in the 10th season of Rapid Pixel Racing, the 10th season of racing on Mondays in Rapid Pixel Racing. I love watching the racing at the minute and commentating it. I hope you guys also love watching the racing. Highlights will be posted tomorrow, hopefully, if not on Wednesday. Obviously, the Sunday F1 highlights will not be available this week because there was no race this Sunday. However, there is the Mexico Grand Prix race this coming Sunday, so make sure to tune in to our stream to that. Make sure to put it in your calendar, 8 PM GMT UK time. We will have the second round of Sunday F1 with the Mexico Grand Prix. I'll be racing that and I'm thoroughly looking forward. I'm definitely hoping to be fighting for the win. Hopefully I can pick that up. I was a bit disappointed with the wet result in COTA, but it is what it is. We will be back next week for, I don't know what race we have. It might actually be Spain, I'm not too sure. Or it'll be Brazil, I believe is what it is. Yes, next week we are back with a sprint race in Brazil, just like what the real life F1 has. Cannot wait for that one. Brazil always throws up a classic race in any form of league racing. Whether it's in RPR or any other league anywhere else, always get some great racing there. So that is all for today there. I will leave you now. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for watching the second round of the RPR 010 Monday's Legend League around Mexico. And yes, make sure to like, subscribe, all that shit. Follow us on Twitter whilst you're at it, and TikTok. We'll keep you up to date with loads of stuff there, and you'll also be able to find cool and funny content, I guess. So yeah, keep an eye out on our socials. Tune in on Sunday, and that's about it. I'll catch you in a bit. Thank you very much, guys.